In a big city in the year 1899, there is a man named Alex, who is a professor at a famous university. Alex prefers to conduct academic research rather than get involved in social activities like his friends do. After he finishes his work at the campus, he meets a woman named Emma, who is his girlfriend, in a public park to go ice skating. In the park, they enjoy their time together until he wants to propose to her, but the moment is interrupted when a thief arrives. With a pistol in his hand, the thief tries to threaten Alex and Emma. The thief intends to take all their money, including Emma's engagement ring. However, he can't let the thief take it, so he fights back, which causes the thief to accidentally shoot Emma, and she ends up dying. Alex, who has just lost his fiancée, dedicates all his time to developing an invention, and eventually he manages to build a time machine within 4 years, just so he can time travel to reunite with her. Alex begins time traveling back to the night he meets Emma in the park, and when they finally meet, he suggests that they walk around the city instead of going to the park. He believes everything will be fine, but when he leaves Emma alone on the sidewalk to buy her flowers, a horseless carriage frightens the horses, causing them to run toward her, and she ends up unconscious. After the incident, he rushes her to the hospital, but she has already died when he arrives. His close friend comes to meet him at the hospital, but Alex can't hold back his sorrow after witnessing her death twice. In a state of depression and grief, he confronts David with the question of why he can't change the past. As a result, this sparks the idea for him to travel to the future to find the answer to his question. His journey to the future begins, and he returns to his machine with determination, eventually time traveling to the year 2030. In that year, humanity had already made significant technological advances, allowing them to travel to the moon and create holograms. He visits the public library, where a holographic librarian named Vox 114 greets him. Because he is an all-knowing holographic man, he recommends a book to him. However, he doesn't come to read a book, and Vox is questioned by him about time travel and why the past can't be changed. The question surprises Vox, and he claims that traveling to the past is impossible. Despite his desire to find even the smallest clue to his question, he gains no information about it. Without receiving any help, he begins traveling again to the future to find his answer. But when he arrives in the year 2037, he finds that the moon colonists have accidentally destroyed the moon. As a result, the moon breaks apart, and its fragments fall to Earth, causing widespread destruction. City ruins are now patrolled by the military, searching for people who can be rescued and evacuated. He is forcibly taken by the military after they find him wandering, but he has no clear understanding of what is happening on Earth and becomes afraid that traveling to the future may not be the right thing to do. Due to the impact of the moon fragments, the Earth's crust begins to open. The military is determined to take him, but despite knowing they will perish if they continue, they leave him behind. As a result, he struggles to return to his machine and time travel again, but suddenly there is an explosion from the Earth's crust, preventing him from doing so. This blast throws his body and accidentally activates the lever, hitting his head hard, and he ends up unconscious. He remains asleep and continues time traveling for a long time, although no time passes outside his machine, until he finally arrives in the year 800 in 2701. Years after the events on the moon, life on Earth has evolved into new and different species. The planet is restored to a green, lush state and is inhabited once again by various forms of life, especially trees. As soon as he realizes the time control is still running, he immediately stops his machine. However, not long after that, he begins to lose consciousness once again. At that point, humanity has returned to a primitive lifestyle. After the machine stops in a forest, he is taken by a woman named Mara from a tribe. She brings him to her home and provides medical care for his wounds. While he recovers, Mara and her younger sibling named Kaylin take care of him together. After some time passes, he fully recovers and wakes up without wearing clothes. As he dresses, Kaylin watches him and quickly runs to her sister Mara. As he follows Kaylin to learn about his surroundings, Kaylin calls the other tribe members to tell them the traveler has woken up. These people are the descendants of their ancestors who survived the moon catastrophe, and now they form one tribe called the Aloi. They live on the cliffs that were once parts of large cities. When the Aloi tribe members gather around him, their leader approaches him and begins to speak in their native language. When Mara arrives, she interrupts the conversation between him and the tribe leader and helps translate. Mara is a teacher who still understands English, and that language is considered by the Aloi to be the stone language and the ancient human tongue that has long been forgotten. The Aloi only understands simple and easy sentences in English. He doesn't fully understand what the tribe leader is trying to say when he makes a rather aggressive statement. But according to Mara, the leader says the Aloi are debating whether to throw him into the river or not, because they are worried he might be a threat to the tribe. In defense of him, Mara asks about his origin. He feels uncomfortable with the question, but he manages to explain that he comes from the past, and he accidentally time traveled to the future with his time machine. But Mara deliberately translates it differently, saying he is an idiot who wanders around without purpose and hits his head on something. This makes all the tribe members, including Mara, laugh, but he can ignore the incorrect information because he knows she is protecting him and preventing chaos for the tribe. A sound like an alarm that signals people to return home is heard a few moments later. They prepare for the night by raising rowboats and ropes to prevent any creatures from entering their area and causing harm. He chooses to stay with Mara and Kaelin because they are the only ones who can understand him. To talk about their lives, Mara and Alex go upstairs after putting Kaelin to sleep. When they arrive, Alex immediately gets stunned by the cliffside village, which is the tribe's home. He can see the shattered moon when he looks at the night sky, and it is then that he realizes the ones who destroyed it have gone way too far. After their conversation, they rest in their own beds, until Alex has a nightmare that wakes him up in the middle of his sleep, followed by Kaelin's scream of terror. It is revealed that Kaelin also has a disturbing dream just like Alex. The next day, Mara takes Alex to a place where their ancestors keep stones, taken from the ruins of a famous building in the big city. Since they already have their own language, Alex feels confused why they still want to speak English. Mara explains to him that the language is something passed down through generations, and she does not want to let it go because she believes there must be a reason why it exists. When it is Mara's turn to ask Alex a question, she asks about his main reason for time traveling. Alex answers that he wants to find the answer to his question, "Why can't I change the past?" But Mara becomes confused and curious why he has to change the past. Alex cannot give her an answer to that question, which brings back memories of his heartbreak, but Mara soon realizes that Alex has to say goodbye to someone he deeply loves who has died. Alex asks Mara once more why he cannot find any older members of the tribe, and Mara tells him that they have all died. Alex finds that suspicious, but Mara explains to him that it is best not to talk about things that do not need to be discussed. However, the tribe does not dwell in the past. Instead, they move forward and honor it by creating beautiful things, like the large windmill they built near the edge of the water. Kaelin greets them excitedly when they arrive on land, and she shows Alex what the top of the windmill looks like after they arrive. However, Mara prevents her from doing that, because the only purpose of their visit is to check Alex's time machine. The machine is located several hundred meters away from the water area, where they finally find it. Alex checks the machine for signs of damage, but it appears to be in good condition and functional. Wishing for Alex to take Kaelin with him, Mara asks if he can use the machine or not. Alex looks confused, but Mara pleads with him to take Kaelin away from this time. Suddenly, Mara rushes to her people to look for Kaelin before Alex can make a decision, because an alarm sound is heard. When they arrive, creatures known as the Morlock begin to fire black-painted arrows to mark their targets, and Kaelin and Mara are among those targets. Another group of Morlocks hides in the sand, waiting for people who walk from the forest to the water area. They can attack anyone and kidnap those who are marked, until eventually, the Morlocks return into the sand. While Kaelin is chased by the Morlocks, Alex has a plan to stop them, starting with him launching an attack against them. Eventually, Alex becomes their main target and tries to fight back. Since Alex is not the type to run without a fight, he climbs the windmill and challenges them there. Moments later, both of them fall to the ground, with a Morlock strangling Alex, but Kaelin arrives and scares it away before it can strike again. The Morlocks are then forced to retreat as the alarm sounds once again, and once Alex and Kaelin calm themselves, they hear Mara scream, she has been kidnapped. So Alex rushes to save her, but unfortunately, the Morlocks enter the sand with Mara before Alex can rescue her. Alex rushes to the group leader and angrily asks why they cannot fight back. In a blunt explanation, the leader states that this is how the world is now. If humans fight, the Morlocks will defeat them first. In other words, humanity has fallen to the bottom of the food chain, and there is no hope of finding any kind of solution. Alex approaches Kaelin, who is depressed, and asks her to tell him everything she knows about the Morlocks, But Kalen has grown up with the same mentality and chooses to ignore everything, brushing off what happened to the kidnapped ones. But through revealing what he knows about the new Earth, Alex instills confidence in Kalen to fight until they succeed. Kalen tells Alex that they are not allowed to talk about the kidnapping location, but she knows where the ghost is. To investigate the location where the ghost is found, Kalen and Alex go to a cave. It turns out the ruins of the public library of the big city are where the ghost is, and Kalen refers to Vox, the hologram man, as the ghost. During their exploration in the ruins, they accidentally activate the hologram that reveals Vox, who is very happy to see and interact with humans after so long. Besides that, Alex is very happy to find books that still exist, but unfortunately, they have turned to ash. Vox's presence is a huge advantage, as that is what he is designed to do. Alex does not waste time and immediately asks Vox what he knows about the events on the new Earth, but because the software has not been updated, Vox cannot provide detailed answers to those questions. However, Vox realizes that in the past, humans, who were once a single race, have now split into two, with one race living above ground and the other living underground. The way of life of these two species has resulted in their own evolutionary paths. When Alex asks about the survival of the underground species, Vox can't give an answer, and that question makes Alex feel even more hopeless and powerless. He is told by Vox that the Aloy tribe is nothing more than a species that merely tries to survive, without any connection to the past and without aspirations for the future. Despite being offended by Vox's words, Alex listens as Vox describes how much suffering he has realized as a result of knowing everything that has happened in the past. Vox even remembers the first day he met Alex. Suddenly, Alex realizes how much Vox already knows about the Morlock at that time. So Vox explains that there is a human who manages to avoid the Morlock, and that person spends years talking with Vox until he eventually dies. Alex then asks Vox about the location of the Morlock, and Vox answers by giving directions to the entrance of their underground cave. Following Vox's directions, Alex and Kalen keep walking, and after walking about 1 kilometer east, they find a skull-shaped structure that appears in their dreams and is meant to keep them away from that place. However, Alex is not like the other Aloy tribe members, and when he observes the cave entrance, he forbids Kalen from accompanying him, because he believes it would be too risky for her. But he gives Kalen an order to gather the tribe members and create smoke signals, so that he and Mara have a clear view of where to go after escaping. After that, Alex descends into the cave and finds that there are many more chambers down there. The place feels like a maze, but Alex keeps moving forward wherever he can without being spotted by the wandering Morlock. As Alex explores the underground tunnels, he finds a huge furnace used by the Morlock, who are working and eating. After that, Alex finds a pile of clothes and notices Mara's necklace. As he looks around, he discovers bloody hooks, saws, knives, and other weapons. It is a horrifying sight to him, and he accidentally pulls a lever, which causes him to fall into a pool. It turns out the pool is filled with corpses and human bones. In terror, he swims to a far corner of the pool. At that moment, a Morlock grabs his hair and locks him in a completely isolated room. When Alex walks down the stairs in that room, he sees Mara sitting in a cage, locked up without looking away from someone. It turns out there is a Morlock in human form, so Alex approaches it, and it tells him that the Aloy tribe consists of individuals who stay on the surface throughout their evolution. However, the Morlock are the evolutionary ancestors of humans who take shelter underground after the destruction of the moon. This Morlock is the commander who controls the other Morlock, and it explains to Alex the reason behind his inability to change the past. It is because Alex got the idea to build the time machine after Emma died. However, Alex can't change her fate. As a consequence of this, it becomes impossible to save Emma through time travel, due to something called a temporal paradox. Since Alex's question is already answered, the Morlock commander brings Alex's time machine underground, having taken it from the surface. The commander gives Alex instructions to activate the machine and time travel back to his home. But because Alex wants to save Mara, he begins to fight the Morlock commander by tying its hand with his pocket watch and dragging it with him. After that, Alex takes the commander to a random point far into the future, but it is actually a trick to destroy the commander by forcing it to leave the temporal bubble of the machine. As a result, the Morlock rapidly ages outside, except for its hand, and finally dies. Then Alex arrives in an extraordinarily distant future, the year 635,427,810, more than 600 million years from before. He sees a sky that looks wrong, in a vast desert, So, Alex finally accepts the reality that he can't save Emma. He then time travels back to the past to save Mara. Alex frees her, activates the time machine, and then destroys the time machine's gear. Just as they are about to escape, a group of Morlock blocks the entrance. But the bright light from the time machine stuns them all, allowing Alex and Mara to escape. A few Morlock chase them as they try to flee the underground, but with the destruction of the machine, the temporal distortion explodes and spreads around it. All the Morlock rapidly age and eventually die as well. After Alex and Mara successfully escape to the surface, Alex begins a new chapter in his life, and finally, he is able to move on from the death of his fiancée. Meanwhile, back in the year 1903, Alex's housekeeper and his close friend are discussing his absence from the week before. Even though the housekeeper is worried about Alex, the friend believes that Alex has finally found a place where he can make himself happy. While waiting for Alex to return, the housekeeper accepts the friend's offer to work as his maid at his place. The movie ends with the housekeeper missing Alex, and finally, the friend says goodbye with a warm smile and throws his hat into the air. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notification so you don't miss the latest recaps. Thanks for watching and wish you good health.